Hello everybody. Wait, did I set that to 4:45? Fucking hell. Whoops. I had 2:45. Uh, I'm Hex Harper, and today is kind of a continuation of our conversation before. Uh, Nick Brown has some choice words for a very certain special Netflix program that he absolutely adores. So let's bring him on.
Hello there. Yeah, great choice of words. I absolutely adore this Lost Pirate Kingdom. What a fantastic show. No quarrels with it whatsoever.
uh, I know you mentioned like a couple of egregious things, and you have seen these videos before. I've got no idea on any of this, but anything. It's like, did they remind you of anything particularly salty that?
Oh, it's just reminds me there. I'll say this for the documentary. It's entertaining, and I would be fine with it if it was like a historical fiction show, but it's not. It's a documentary. You bring the quote unquote like the historians quotation marks because some of them, two of them I know for sure are actual pirate historians. I have their books. The rest, I'm like, where did you get your credentials from to talk about this genre? Like, one of them was like, this girl was her credential because at the bottom, when someone appears on the documentary or whatever, the historical professor or whatnot, they usually have a credential that says like wrote this book, wrote this. One of them like wrote dirtier, sexier history. I'm like, what is? How does that
Wait,
connect to the pirates? What does that mean? Just
I,
th-
does
things
it
like that.
the venereal diseases? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, there's things like that, and I guess it's just the way the narrator, how they wrote what the narrator says. Like they just treat things like they're facts when they're not. Like Sam Bellamy and the whole myth behind Sam Bellamy and his love with Miria Hallett, like that's sort of a myth. That's not real, but they treat it like it's a absolute fact. And then they take all the hyperboles of the myth and treat it like they're facts. So it's just the passing of misinformation without saying this could have happened, this may have happened. Legend says it's no, this is clear cut historical fact. This actually happened when that is it's not the case.
Well, all right then. I'll just go ahead and
Yeah.
pull up the first video. It's already loaded up here and stuff like that. And yeah, whenever whenever you
Well,
want to yell at something, just tell me.
all right. Perfect.
Okay. Just gonna, there we go.
I'm not hearing any volume yet.
Oh crap! Did I not do? Hold up. Did I not do the sound? I don't think I did the sound. Uh, I did a dumb.
Oh,
It's been a while.
you're all good, man. No
All right.
worries.
Netflix shit.
Yeah,
The little share audio box that it's always hiding. I'll just okay, it's just talking about the review itself.
Everything Netflix related. So if you're interested in the latest Netflix's release, check out my channel, give it a subscribe, give me a like, because I want to become your Netflix go-to guy. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the Lost Pirate Kingdom. My word, this was such a fun series to watch. So the Lost Pirate Kingdom is ultimately about the creation.
Hi, dog.
Oh, hello, doggy. That's how he wins you over. He brings in a dog.
Just, I mean, plenty of people, just have like animals barging in or whatever. This just like, I don't know why this just feels more annoying than some of the others.
I'm not sure either because it's at the start of the video and he's not really acknowledging the dog either. Usually they'll like acknowledge the dog, but this one is just like, "Hi, dog. Just I'm talking now." But cute. It is a cute dog. You have a cute dog, but then I look to the right and I see a Rogue One poster. I'm like, oh no.
I mean, I didn't hate Rogue One.
It's
I mean,
the best of the Disney Star Wars movies by default.
like,
But I'm sorry.
yeah, K2SO, Donnie Yen, and the guy with the machine gun. Those are the only characters I really liked. The two main protagonists, they were just kind of blah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot K2. I forgot about K2SO. He was actually pretty funny. I liked him. I forgot about him. I also like the villain. I don't remember his name.
I forgot.
Krennic, the white with the white cape thing or whatever. I'm not sure why he had a white cape, but he did. I liked him. He was entertaining, probably because he's played by Ben Mendelsohn. But they waste like a lot of other characters, like
They resurrected Peter Cushing for.
Yeah, Peter Cushing, the CGI. I was fine with it, but because I was like, that's understandable. You kind of, when you're telling the story of the Death Star, you kind of need to have
Captain
Tarkin. Yeah.
But,
Mads Mikkelsen, that's the one they wasted. That was, and Forrest Whitaker was in it too.
Oh, he was? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Right, that's his name, right? Forrest, the guy who's, oh no. Now I'm worried. Now I have to know if I'm doing, yeah, Forrest Whitaker, because Forrest Whitaker's the one with the lazy eye.
But, all right, let's see what he actually has to say aside from, "Hi, I have a Chihuahua."
Very little dog appearing. So the Lost Pirate Kingdom is ultimately about the creation of the pirate lifestyle, about the founding of Nassau, about all of the different origins of the most well-known and famous pirates. The series covers the likes of Black Sam Bellamy, Blackbeard, Benjamin Hornigold. All of these are well-known names if you're a fan of pirates and the like. It's a documentary series, so everything is based in fact, but they do a great job of keeping it entertaining and engaging and exciting. Ultimately, we have full-scale...
So, they say the origins of Nassau. They don't really cover... They start with the treasure fleet and how the Spanish treasure fleet, the wrecks, that whole sinking, and Henry Jennings and all these other pirates sailing into to get fish for the wrecks, essentially, to get the gold and treasure and all the like. They don't really cover the origin, like that's sort of the origins of like the pirate base, but there's more to it. Like Henry Avery started with Nassau. He went to Nassau first, and they don't really talk about that and his origins and how he left his boat, paid the governor off so he could build the fort, so he could set up Nassau to what it would be for the pirates when they would move in and take over. So they don't really cover that basis of how Henry Avery sort of gave the governor the money to fund his whole the colony, essentially, before, and then Spanish would come in and wreck the place, and then the fort would still be standing though. So that's why it became a good base to use, because not only is it in the Bahamas, it's a small location, sort of secluded from everywhere else, but close enough to to the trade routes, but secluded enough from like the any like pirate hunters or the government for a little while until Woodes Rogers came in. But it was essentially it was a good base that was established with the help of Henry Avery when he tossed the ship to the side and went into obscurity, because that's the last time we ever see of him is in Nassau. And then when the Spanish came and sort of burned down the whole place, not the whole place, but like sort of did battle on Nassau, it became a very obscure colony that the pirates came and took over and sort of made their own. And the fort just sort of helped secure that, though, and they don't talk much about that. It is fun, but if you're like a pirate historian at all or know anything about pirate history and lore, you're going to be a little frustrated with this documentary because, again, there's just so many historical inaccuracies. Like, even it starts with the little things, but as it progresses, it just gets a little bigger and bigger, and it's just like then they just sometimes just start making up facts here and there. But we'll see if this guy talks about that.
Naval battles taking place on screen, edited really well. The visuals are great for a documentary series, and we're really able to immerse ourselves in this lifestyle.
All right, I was not a big fan of the visuals in this documentary series. I'm fine with it being cheap. I'm fine with the documentary series being cheap and doesn't look extremely well. I didn't think it looked very well. I thought you could see green screen here and there. You could tell when they were on a green screen. And they changed locations here and there because it seemed very cheap, so they couldn't be entirely historically accurate. Like something like when they decided they do the Blackbeard's death, that takes place on decks on top of the boat, but they do it below decks, which is not at all historically accurate.
Wait,
and no battle. It's just him and Maynard duel below decks, which is like that's not what.
It's like, I'm gonna duel you, and then it was like, all right, let's just come inside. It's wet out here.
Yeah, it's wet. It's like, no, that's not all what happened. But if it's a cheap documentary, like maybe I could let that slide a little bit, as long as all the details and what you explain is historically accurate, which it's not at all. So, and I would say there's better documentaries, like usually the ones on the History Channel, like what's it? Barbarians Rising. Like that one's a pretty. I would assume it's an expensive documentary series, and does sort of the same thing how the Lost Pirate Kingdom is, where you have the historians talking, you have the narrator, and then you show scenes, and then you have the characters do dialogue and all that, and sort of create a little loose story for viewers to also watch and make it more entertaining. And that one is pretty good because you see a lot of like famous actors in that as well. I say famous, but like pretty well-known actors. Like if you watch Game of Thrones, you could start picking out like, oh, you're Barristan Selmy in Game of Thrones. I remember you. You're Torsten from Vikings. I remember you. Even Billy Bones from Black Sails, Tom Hopper, he was in Barbarians Rising. It's I don't know, just things like that. It's just that and even the visuals I would say look better. They could do many battles, and then sometimes you could tell when they reuse a shot. But not Black Sails, Lost Pirate Kingdom, they reuse multiple shots in the same episode. It's not like, all right, we shot this, and they don't even try like to do a different angle. Like at one point, Black Sam Bellamy raids a pirate ship, shoots a pistol in the air, and that's it. And they reuse that to explain how he's taken over many merchant ships, like 3 times in the same episode. Like, could you not film from a different angle, or just have him wield a different weapon in the same location? Like, were you just lazy and didn't ask him, hey, can you swing a sword? And I don't know.
Give him a different shirt at least.
Yeah, a different shirt. Like, take off the jacket, take off the red jacket, and do something else. We'll film from a different angle. We'll change the lighting. It's just they didn't do any of that. It's just the same shot used multiple times.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess that's what they want us to do, is love it. So,
even though it is a documentary and we have a narrator explaining everything to us, we have fully fledged characters and actors performing these characters out. It's like watching a series just with a ton of narration. And it's honestly a lot of fun. If you're interested in piracy, this series is definitely for you. You learn, as I mentioned earlier, everything. The series has a great way of both balancing the romantic side of piracy, the part that's glorified, the exciting aspects of it. They do a great job of mixing that with the reality of being a pirate. It wasn't always plundering and excitement and death and destruction.
Okay, so they take the romantic aspect of piracy and embellish it and hyperbolize it to very insane degrees, I would say. Like, At one point when the Whittia Rex and Sam Bellamy is killed, they have his body and John Keane, 8-year-old boy who was also on the ship, on the beach for crazy. They make Mary Halleck crazy because that's the legend, even though that's not accurate or true. Pick off Sam Bellamy and loot his body, but that's and they make it all sad and dramatic, like, oh, isn't this sad? Like, but that didn't happen at all. Like, you're going to the fictional route now because John Keane, we know where his body was underwater. We found his remains when we found the Whittier wreck. We found his leg bone in his shoe and stocking. You can find pictures of that. Like, we know exactly where it was. Sam Bellamy's body was never discovered. We presume it was lost at sea somewhere, maybe around the Whittier wreck or whatnot. We haven't been able to identify that quite yet. But we know for sure he wasn't on the beach because they buried all the bodies, and scientists have dug those bodies up and did DNA tests with the relatives and whatnot. And we haven't been able to find the bone remains in the ocean yet. It might have been by now, though, it could be degraded. But it's just things like that where they just sort of take the romanticism of that, the legends, and hyperbolize that. And then what he's talking about, like the gritty, the reality, I think is just referring to like blood, gore, and dirt, how they all look like they probably would on a ship. Dirty, unclean, probably missing teeth. And even though that's accurate, it's just not. Everything else around the story itself, the historical facts are not accurate at all. It's the romanticized versions, and they don't acknowledge that at all. They treat it like it is fact.
So, and then the aliens show up.
Yep, the aliens showed up. That's clear. Ancient aliens. Come on. They're real. It was the aliens that took down the Whittier wreck. They took down that ship, transported Sam Bellamy onto their ship.
He is lost in the sea of stars. All right, let's see what else is going on here.
But there were moments of loyalty. There were moments of just pure humanity. And there were moments of dread and terror. And the series does a great job of just balancing everything. So this series, non-fiction. Everything is based over reality.
Pause it real quick because I just saw the not anything he has to say there, but I did see.
Do you want me to back up at all?
Oh, sure. If you want to back up to just a little bit to where right there, 216, I think. That's the scene where Charles Vane decides to inflict pain on himself to scare this Spanish person to giving up information, which did not happen at all. It contradicts what we know of Charles Vane. Charles Vane was a cruel man. He would beat the person up, though, or torture the person he's talking to for information rather than torture himself. He's not a masochist. That is Edward Ned Lowe, and they sort of fused the two together in this documentary, quote unquote documentary, for some reason. I'm not sure why they did that, but
that doesn't even make sense in an interrogation sort of sense. Like, tell me what I want to know, or I'm cutting off another one of my toes.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut off my other nostril. Tell me what I want to know. What? Oh no, I won't. All right, you made me do this. It's like, no, please stop torturing yourself. I don't understand what's happening. Don't do it.
So this series, non-fiction. Everything is based off of reality. And they do a great job in every regard, in my opinion. The performances of the characters of the real life figures is great. The actors really portray these characters well. The set design is brilliant. These worlds feel lived in. These ships really feel lived in. You really feel like entire crews have been living on these ships at sea for months on end. You feel
you can pause it real quick. This is just real quick thing with they show Blackbeard's beard when he's like, I'm Blackbeard, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, his beard would be on fire. Yeah, I'm not sure how far back it was, but it's just a quick shot of him just
over reality. And they do
oh,
great.
there, him.
No, keep going. It was with the sparks in his hair.
In every regard, in my opinion.
I was muted, so I don't have to.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to listen to him again.
Uh,
Because he's talking about the actors. The actors are good in this. I would say that they're fine for what they were given.
and hey, DWLW, how you doing?
Hello, DWLW.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well and enjoying the stream.
Design is brilliant. These worlds feel lived in. These ships really feel lived in.
there
You
we
really
go.
feel like entire crews are living on these ships
Arg.
at sea for months on end. You feel the wear and tear and everything. You feel the real just disgustingness and grossness of living out at sea without like proper hygiene and being able to take care of yourself sufficiently. It's crazy how.
I was like, it's not clicking the right thing.
I saw the shot I was telling you about when Sam Bellamy was shooting two pistols in the air. A few seconds. Just the same shot they use like 3 times.
Oh, they do? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I'm not sure how far back it was in the video. You don't need to go back, but I saw it like, oh, there it is. There's that one shot I was talking about. Oh, boy.
Well, this series was put together. So the series really covers a wide variety of characters over a period of time, and it does a very great job of giving.
You mean like a lot of things do? It covers a wide variety of characters over a period of time. That's kind of what a lot of documentaries do.
Yeah, that's the nature of a documentary, I would assume, is covering things over a long period of time.
It's like I mean, yeah, that's nothing really too much to make fun of there, but it's just like, wow, that is a nothing statement. It's about pirates, and they swashbuckle and rob people, and it's over a good few decades, 18th century, whatever.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It balances romanticism and grittiness. It's really gritty, but it has the romantic elements. It's great. It's just
yes,
okay.
It does. And so this Netflix doc on Edward Teach, it's got more than Edward Teach, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has Henry Jennings, Charles Vane, Benjamin Hornigold, Edward Teach, Black Caesar. They don't do Israel Hands. I don't know why they didn't put Israel Hands in it. And Bonnie, kind of. They don't talk about her career as a pirate. They just talk about how she became, quotation marks, became a pirate. Same with like Calico Jack Rackman. They don't really talk about him that much. He's there, but then they don't. They do the start of his career. They don't know Mary Read. They don't talk about her at all. Steve Bonnet shows up for a scene, and that's it. They don't bring him up ever again, which is like when you want to talk about him in relation to Blackbeard. That's the thing. The end of the show, like the beginning, it's sort of like, okay, it's like balanced pretty well. You're talking about all the pirates, how they each became a pirate, the causes, which the wording. It's their wording. They really need to like let another like. They even have him in the show as Colin Woodard. Right, like he's a great pirate historian. Let him like look over what you said in your narration aspect, and then like help like let him go. Okay, you need to reword this. But like the second half of the show feels extremely rushed. Like they skip over a lot of what Blackbeard did because they don't talk about Steve Bonnet at all, and those two were not in cahoots, but like
fairly
Steve
tight
Bonnet
knit.
Yeah, they don't talk about what he did in when he went down to Mexico. They don't, or in Mexico waters and whatnot. They don't talk about that at all. They don't really talk about Charlestown Harbor and that whole siege. I think they briefly mention it.
They don't even go over. That's a huge. That was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I think they talk about it for a little bit and then they just sort of skip over because that's the one thing I just can't remember. And like, I think they probably did it once, and that was it. I think it was when the shot of Blackbeard coming out and like, oh, I'm Blackbeard, rah 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 rah, because they focus more on his. They make up that Blackbeard had syphilis, which there's no evidence. There's no. It's just all conjecture. Like he had syphilis. That's why he did a siege on Charlestown to get medicine, and he was insane and he was dying. He was a man who was dying. Like where did you get that he was dying from? Like he was never at a point like he was gonna die. Like he knew he was dying, and that's why he became Blackbeard. Or it's like that. No, that didn't happen at all. That's something Black Sails did, and that's a historical fiction show to a prequel of Treasure Island. That's fine there, but when you're doing a documentary, it's like you got to be accurate. You can't do a historical fiction. At that point, at least that's my opinion. Is you can't just make things up when you're portraying it. Your trailer and everything is that here's the true history of piracy and the golden age of pirates, and they don't even cover all the golden age of pirates. They cover a few of them, but they don't go over most of them or all of them.
And syphilis didn't cause multiple stab wounds either, so I don't see how that would have been relevant.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something they just throw in like a plot point to a story that's like you're a documentary. You know how this ends. It amounts to nothing. Why did he need syphilis? It doesn't explain anything.
It's like Dumbledore being gay. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, thanks for telling us. I don't know why that mattered.
Yeah. I don't remember him getting together with anyone except for the concrete and the gravity when he died, but that's about it. Because yeah, right, he got shot off the tower by Avada Kedavra, and then he fell and hit the ground.
Yeah,
I have to remember. It's been a while since I've seen Harry Potter, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I actually never read the 6th or 7th book.
That's an understanding of all of these different characters, how their minds worked, what was their motivation, and why they ultimately became pirates, or why they hated piracy. And we really understand why specific characters really had a loyalty to one another and why other characters just seriously despised one another. And it's great to really feel like the reality of the situation was definitely fleshed out.
I guess you could pause they do go over the loyalties, sort of. They don't really explain certain, like they go into detail about Henry Jennings and Benjamin Hornigold and why they despise each other, and they took something Colin Woodard said, which is that perhaps I could have the book right next to me. I don't know where the page is at, but it's essentially in his book he explains that maybe the animosity between Jennings and Hornigold was that Jennings was an actual legitimized privateer, while Hornigold was, even though he was a patriot to the crown, or he felt like he was a patriot because he refused to attack English merchant ships. He would attack everyone else but the English. He was still a pirate, essentially. He didn't have letters of marque or anything like that. But that was like a speculation, as he describes. We don't know why. Here's some speculation. The show takes that speculation and treats it like it's fact. Just an example. And that could be one reason why. It could be that Henry Jennings had more power and leverage over the crews at the time, and when he took his Hornigold ship, just like, I need your ship to carry this treasure. You're going to give it to me whether you like it or not. So,
Gemini Samimi, good to see you. Hope
hello,
you're doing
Gemini
well.
Samini.
Your character lived, by the way. I beat Darkest Dungeon yesterday, and I'll eventually upload the final battle and whatnot. But yes, your character lived.
Yep. Oh, that's a great highlight for later.
In the series.
Oh yeah.
The whole time I was watching this series, though, I just kept thinking about Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is my favorite Assassin's Creed game in the series, and how well that game then actually captured pirate life. Because I'm busy watching these scenes at Nassau take place, and I'm like, that's exactly how the game memorized it. I feel like this is also well done to Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Have you played Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
I wanted to. I just never got around to it. But
Okay.
I mean, I've heard it was one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's my favorite of the games. And it is more historically accurate than the Lost Pirate Kingdom. was surprised. But yeah, Black Flag actually all really, really historically accurate, to say the least. To certain degrees, obviously, like Woodes Rogers and the Governor Lawrence, how Spanish governor in the beginning. I don't think they ever meet and are not part of that. What is it that the assassins always trying to fight against
The Templars.
The Templars, yeah. So they do. Obviously, that stuff is fictional, but there's a lot of things that are historically accurate that the game makes mentions to and uses. They use a lot of dialogue that is recorded as well in their games, in their characters as well, which I thought was pretty cool and clever. So that's a pretty fun game and much, much, much better than this documentary.
That's cool. Sorry, I missed it. I just got the Pfizer knocked out. I actually just got my second Moderna shot today and whatnot. So, yeah, I still have energy at least. But yeah, no worry. I'll post something up on YouTube, and then it'll be sad to see. I would love to see the real history of female pirate like Jing Yi Sao. Do you know about her?
That is Madam Ching.
Oh, that is Madam Ching. I was guessing
yeah.
It was like, is that Madam Ching or is that someone else?
Yep, that is Madam Ching. That was before. That's her like prostitute name before she got married and took on the new name because of the culture and all that. It's weird, but yeah, she came much later after the golden age of piracy. She came in the 1800s, I believe. I forget if it's late or early. I think it's no, maybe it's mid. It's either way, 1800s, while the golden age of piracy was like early 1700s.
Okay.
Flag for being able to capture the pirate life. If I'm busy watching this series that's based in reality, that's based in truth, and all I can see at times is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, then also check out the series. To be brutally honest, I don't think
I've better yet just play that instead.
Yeah, that would be a much better idea. Just play that instead. But I also just found it funny that he said something similar, where it's like, if you like pirate lore and history, you should watch the series. If you like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you should watch the series. I don't know why. He just sort of repeated himself there. It's like when you sum that up in the beginning, but I guess maybe not. But you could also see here the green screen, or maybe it's a matte painting. I think it's a green screen. It doesn't look real.
I enjoyed a documentary series as much as this. I don't think I've ever just sat down and watched and engaged with the documentary series. Just thinking, wow, this is fun. This is exciting. I wish they released a season.
Never stick a knife to Woodes Rogers' throat. Why did they do that?
And apparently there's a classic chest shaving scene.
Yep. Oh god. Yeah, she was. I think that was when they had Aunt Bonnie shave Benjamin Hornigold's chest and have sex with him, which
the fuck
never happened at all.
Did they even meet?
They might have met, but I don't think they would have ever been like, because Aunt Bonnie became sort of a pirate after Hornigold became a pirate hunter. They might have been on the same island in the same time. They might have met, but I don't think they never worked together, because at that point, Hornigold was a privateer for Woodes Rogers, and he disappeared in like 1717, I believe, was when he probably was presumed to have died. While Aunt Bonnie and Calico Jack Rackham became pirates after that. Or, well, Calico Jack Rackham was a pirate before that, but he took the pardon after he marooned Charles Vane, because Charles Vane mistaken his whole crew, they all mistaken a French merchant ship for they thought it was a French merchant ship. It was a French man of war. Vane wisely said, we have to go, we can't fight them, while the crew wanted to fight the French man of war. Then because of, they called Vane a coward, marooned him because of it. And then Jack Rackham sailed back to Nassau to take the pardon.
It's like, yeah, let's not fight the ship with 40 guns that'll tear us to shreds.
Yeah, on each side, it's just okay. and even Steve Bonnet makes Steve Bonnet seem less clumsy that because like Steve Bonnet, they also mistake his crew and mistaken his Spanish merchant ship, and it was actually a Spanish man of war. Charles Vane did the same as well. It's like, okay, so maybe, and he was an experienced seaman or sailor, so
Yeah, but it's like there's one. It's like the difference between like one guy wanting to fight the ship anyway, and the whole crew wanting to fight the ship anyway, and then the person in command's like, "Hey, let's not," and then you just fucking maroon him. What the hell?
yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't very popular. He was a very cruel man. Like I said, he would torture people, merchant people, which isn't something. It's common among pirates, but I guess he just took it a step further. I mean, to make a reference to the Assassin's Creed Black Flag, one point Charles Vane just shoots a man after they get their information, and the main character, the guy you're playing, the assassins dude, is like, "What the hell? You didn't need to do that." And it's not like he tortured him; he just shot him because he talked back to Vane, and just that's one reason why the marooned him. But yeah, he wasn't a very popular. He was good to rally people. He was like the leader of the pirates against the pardon. But then after they left, they didn't really gain their popularity because Blackbeard was a much more charismatic, and I guess they trusted him a lot more, even though he marooned like half his crew on the Queen Anne's Revenge when he scuttled it. But semantics, I guess.
Let's see. This is almost over, so.
I think a season 2 would be great. I don't necessarily know if they could continue doing it with the pirates because the story's resolved. But what they could really do is tackle something like gangs in the Wild West. If they did a gangs in the Wild West, like with Billy the Kid and stuff like that, and if they just did that with the exact same layout and quality of this series, that is something I could really enjoy and engage with.
No, don't
so guys,
do that.
That is my review.
It'll be historically accurate. It will not be. It'll be so inaccurate. Or if you really wanted a American cowboy historical documentary that you want to watch, I recommend was American something of the West, I think. What was it? It was an AMC documentary that is now available on oh no, it was on Prime. Oh, what was it called? The American West. Yeah, that was a documentary. I remember that being good. It had I think Robert Redford was the narrator. Yeah, I remember that being good. And then from what I know, it was pretty historically accurate. So watch that one if you want to watch any documentary. Also, I have to ask. I assume it's the video. Was the wailing sound? Did you hear that?
Oh, that it sounds like he has a parrot or something, or some kind of bird.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm like, was that coming from you? Like, no, it's this video.
No, I heard it a couple times, and I'm like, what the hell is coming?
Yeah, because I thought it was me for a second, so I took off my headphones. Like, I don't think it's for me. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's I. If I was over at our family friend's house, they have birds, but no.
Yeah, because my dad loves birds, so I'm like, did he finally get a bird in the house by mistake? Did he done goof? But no, it's the video. He's like, is it a baby or a bird? I'm like, what's going on? I think it's a bird, but
yeah, it sounds like bird. Let's see. Is there anything?
The Lost Pirate Kingdom. I would highly recommend this to anyone that enjoys documentaries or true crime series, anything like that. Anyone that wants to learn anything about pirates. If you enjoy Pirates of the Caribbean and you want a more realistic take on that lifestyle, then give this series a watch. If you're interested in anything like that, I would definitely recommend it. Guys, thank you so much. Give this video a like.
Yeah, he did it again. It's like if you watch Pirates of the Caribbean and want more realistic stuff, watch this documentary. It's like, no. No. If you want an actual documentary to watch, I recommend True Caribbean Pirates, or as Dr. Crow might say, read a book. There are plenty of great pirate books to read. Colin Woodard, Republic of Pirates, Black Flags, Blue Waters by Eric J. Dolan, I believe. Look up Bennerson Little. He's like, I regard him as like the best pirate historian. He's worked on like Blood and Plunder, those game books. He did all the history on those. That's in the beginning of the books, which is like pretty much half of the book, which is pretty good. A lot of things to learn from those, surprisingly.
Yeah, like that review was pretty much on par with anything I'd say for any Comicsgate books I review. It's just like, hey, it's about some stuff and there's some and things happen in it, and go buy it.
Yeah, but you make references in your reviews though. You show like the pages, like here's what I'm talking about. This is why I enjoy it. You explain it. He just sort of like, it's great. You should go watch it. He sort of described like the synopsis of it, but for you though, like you want people to also read the comics as well, and at least you show like the comic itself and go to certain pages and make references to it. Like when you explain one of the faults you thought what's the giant one?
Oh, Doomfate.
Doomfate, yeah. Because you're like, I don't like how certain characters just sort of die when they're supposed to be badasses. And you showed those sections of it just to explain why you thought that was a problem. You make references and examples while he did not.
Hey, it's a 5-minute video. Oh, don't forget to share audio.
Oh yeah, it's not a terrible video. It's just something I saw. I'm like, who he's talking positively about it. I don't know.
But this video right here, Lost Pirate Kingdom breakdown, everything you need to know.
Yeah.
This one, you had some more choice words for, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, this is the one where I'm like, okay, you're trying to break it down. Let's see how well you do. While the other one just sort of like, that one's more of a because he does do at least, even though he's talking in a positive light, he at least summarizes what the documentary is supposed to be for those who are unfamiliar with it. So I think that would have been a bit, watching that video, the review is a better way to do that than just me sort of trying to explain.
It still showed some weird clips like that chest shaving thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, at least there was some merit.
Yeah. There goes my phone now. I dropped it.
Let's see. Okay, let's get the main course underway.
Spain's wealth lies scattered on the seabed of Florida.
Fans of the Pirates of the Caribbean and Black Sails franchises have been waiting in anticipation for more plundering content to get their sails wet. And it looks like Netflix has...
Okay, you really don't want to get your sails wet? That is the opposite of what you want to do.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That is a dumb fucking line. I learned a little bit of sailing myself and whatnot. I'm like, no, that is the... You don't want to get those wet.
Yeah, I figured that this was why I thought this one would be a good one, because you don't need to have seen the documentary just to know like a line like that. Like, no, you don't want that. You'll never go anywhere if your sails are wet.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I had just immediately paused it. Like, wait, no, that's fucking dumb.
No, you are perfectly fine, because I 100% agree. What was that line?
I don't know, like something to like drop anchor on. You stop and you go down real deep or something like that. That makes sense. No, not getting your getting your lips wet or teeth wet is not the same as getting your sails wet.
You might say something about rum. Make a joke about rum or something. Why did you go sails?
Wow. Okay, that was sorry. That was bad.
Yeah, like hoist the flag, hoist the colors, something. Right? Why sails wet? It's just.
Oh god. Okay, let's. And this is like 14 seconds in. I am sorry. Okay, let's go.
Obliged by making a documentary by the name of The Lost Pirate Kingdom available, which has unfortunately been swept under the radar by other intriguing releases. But what is this documentary actually about?
Although I didn't, to be honest, I didn't hear about it until like it came out. I think my mom's like, "Hey, I saw this documentary. Is it good?" I'm like, "What documentary? A pirate documentary?" You say what now? Well, I think this is why it's been swept under the radar. Is just because it's just not accurate. It's
And is it
entertaining, but
worth
just not
watching in the
accurate.
long run?
Mhm.
Well, whether you consider yourself to be a fan of pirates or just want to discover more content that you can binge watch on the platform, stay right
Oh,
where
there
you
it
are,
is.
because we're about to
Yeah,
take a
the nose cutting thing. It's like, why the hell did you do that?
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, you got your blood on me. Stop it. You're gross. Why are you doing that?
I mean, the best way I could really think of like doing something like that is like, you tell them first, like, hey, I've got hepatitis. Cut, wipe, smear in their eyes.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want to know.
Yeah, that would have been better. Like, I have some blood disease. And that's apparently how the show explains, oh, Henry Jennings trusted Charles Vane after that. It's like,
What?
I don't think Jennings would be like, ooh, Charles Vane, he could be a good asset because he managed to torture himself to convince this guy
Mhm.
to give me information. I think Jennings would be like, the fuck is this dude? Get him away. Get him away. Keep him far away from me.
Okay, let's see.
a look at everything there is to know about the Lost Pirate Kingdom. So strap yourselves in and get ready to swab the deck, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of the new videos that we post. The Lost Pirate Kingdom release date. We usually start these videos off by indicating the specific release date of the series so that you'll know exactly how long you need to wait before sinking your teeth into it. And we're happy to announce that you'll actually be able to head over to Netflix as
Oh, so this before it even came out?
No, it came out already. He said it at the beginning. It's out.
Yeah. So
I
so
don't.
why are you talking about the release date?
I don't know.
Like,
It was.
I guess maybe it was a review pass or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know because the date of the video is after the show came out, so I don't know.
We've created a time paradox.
Yeah. Oh no.
as soon as you finish this video, as The Lost Kingdom launched on the 15th of May, 2021. Already, this series consists of a total of 6 hearty episodes, and since Netflix has explicitly referred to it as its first season, fans of the show have already started to theorize that a second season might be in the works. As of
I don't
right
think
now,
so.
there has
I
been
guess
no
pause real quick, just so I can. The ending was sort of definitive because they make a stupid statement that the golden age of piracy ended with Blackbeard.
Like,
It did not.
But no, it didn't.
Yeah.
No. You said in yourself it was after Black Bart died.
Yeah, it was Black Bart Roberts. That's when everyone sort of accepts that it ended with Black Bart Roberts because he was the most successful pirate in that golden age. There was a few years later Ned Lowe came about, but he wasn't a very good pirate.
And he was kind of a crazy person.
Yeah, he was like psychotic. He was insane. He raided fishing boats and stuff. Like the only reason we talk about it is because he was so insane in the way he tortured people. Is just evil. He's just evil, and like even Calico Jack. If it wasn't for Anne Bonny and Mary Read, we probably wouldn't be talking about him that much because all he did was raid a few fishing boats in his career. But Mary Read and Anne Bonny sort of the fact that he had 2 women pirate on his ship just made it a whole lot more interesting. Like, how on earth did this happen?
Well, okay.
But they happened after Blackbeard as well. So what's the? There's so many pirates after Blackbeard. I don't get why they said that. And that's where the show ends, is with Blackbeard dying, and then they do a little recap of like history, like, oh yeah, Anne Bonny gets captured. No mention of Mary Read. Anne Bonny gets captured. Jack Rackham gets hung. Jennings gets to be lived on his plantation for the rest of his life. Benjamin Hornigold's lost at sea, and wow, that's about it. Oh, they talk about oh god, Sam Bellamy's friend, second mate, or not second mate, but other captain friend. Oh god, I can't remember his name. It's gonna anger me. Paul something. It's Paul something. Oh, I don't remember. That's gonna bug me.
Do we need a do we need a moment to Google?
We might. It's gonna bother me to no end if I cannot get this. I should be able to know this off the top of my head, and I do not.
I'll keep
how
playing
do
the
I
clip
not?
and you start fishing for it.
Paulsgrave Williams. There it is.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, it was hurting my head because I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, what is it? What is it?
Official word from Netflix in this regard, but since the series only released a few days ago, we have hopes that the show will be renewed for a second season, which might already give you an indication of how we ended up feeling about it. It's unfortunate, to say the least, but
More
gone
stock
are the days
footage.
where Netflix could renew seasons before even seeing how they performed on the site. The global health situation sure has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works, causing a great number of series to fall into steep
Because God forbid you wait and see how things play out before you decide to invest more money in something that might completely suck.
Like, exactly. Like that's a very understandable thing. You don't just renew a show the day after. Like, yeah, we're renewing it. Like, don't you want to see how it does? Like, I get it. You're a corporation. You probably want to see how it does. Don't just immediately announce, yeah, we're doing like Cruella. Disney's like, we're doing a Cruella too. Don't you want
Like-
to see how much money you're gonna make before you announce
Or lack
something?
thereof.
Yeah, before you announce something like that. It's just
Let's
okay.
see. Did this go into the Republic of Pirates?
Yes. This is sort of based on Colin Woodard's book, The Republic of Pirates. They essentially took the highlights of it. What I assume is like they go through the book. This is interesting. Highlight, and they took those highlights and just embellished it even further. Is what I assume they did. I feel bad for Colin Woodard because they tried to adapt his book before, and a TV show called Crossbones, where Blackbeard was played by John Malkovich for some reason, and he just looks like John Malkovich dressed up like a pirate.
I kind of want to see at least clips of him.
I do too. I haven't seen it. I heard it's bad, and that's about it. I haven't seen it though, so maybe it's good, but I doubt it. When you told me, like, I was told Blackbeard is played by John Malkovich, and I looked him up, like, it's just John Malkovich. He's no black beard, no black hair. He's just John Malkovich. What is he doing? So that might be something fun to watch and laugh at, like Neil Breen. But yeah, that's essentially what they do. They even have the poor guy in this documentary, and he'll say something, and then you could tell when they cut before he finishes the sentence because he has something else to say. They just take in the highlights, and a few times you can pause it and see when his mouth's open, he's about to say something, and then they cut to like the scene of the whatever, a pirate doing something, or
oh wow,
governor talking. It's just sometimes you just could tell like there's more to say. They're just chopping it up where before they finish and sort of like explain. But this is a legend, so we don't know if this is true. I assume that's what they're cutting out, but or things like that. I don't know. That's weird.
You know, based on a true story. Not.
Kind of. It's based on a true story, but then they just sort of make up their own facts. That's why if it was a historical fiction, I would be fine with it. But it's not. It's a documentary, and it's terrible. Like, this is supposed to be the governor's house right here, Lord Hamilton's house, and it's just that doesn't look like a governor palace at all. Looks
delays. The streaming giant even took a full month to renew one of its most popular shows of the year in the form of Bridgerton Season 2. After all, so tried and tested fans of The Lost Pirate Kingdom shouldn't feel discouraged due to the lack of any official announcement just yet.
Okay,
The overall content of the show, the official...
Ah.
I'm
Oh
Nick
my
Nimmin,
goodness.
and I'm a StreamYard user. If you're
StreamYard.
considering live,
I got an ad. That's the first time I ever got an ad for StreamYards. While actually doing something.
While you
Hey, Dr. Crow, how you doing?
Hey, Dr. Crow. We're doing good.
We're just I'm just trying to see how long before Nick Brown snaps.
It's coming probably. I assume any minute now. I'm just gonna have a heart attack and die. My brain will just melt. Just be like, oh, I can't take it.
Close enough Netflix for the Lost Pirate Kingdom describes it as a documentary telling the stories of real-life pirates of the Caribbean. So you can forget about pirates such as Will Turner and Captain Jack Sparrow, as these are clearly works of fiction. That being said, the beloved
This is also a
characters
work
have
of
most
fiction.
certainly been based on both factual and mythological information pertaining to real-life pirates that did sail the seven seas back in the days. In other words, fans of pirate-based franchises will be happy to hear that the Lost Pirate Kingdom dives headfirst into the stories of those pirates who stole from the rich.
That's
to give to
Robin
the
Hood.
poor.
That's pirates who stole from what?
What? That's
What are you even saying?
What? That's
Hang on,
Robin Hood. What?
Okay,
why
I
is
gotta.
there a picture
I
of
have to
Robin
hear the
Hood?
rest of the sentence just to make sure I'm not crazy.
In
Yeah.
true Robin Hood fashion, setting up an egalitarian republic as a
Oh.
result.
What?
They're making a reference to Robin Hood. Like, okay, so Black Sam Bellamy was known as the Prince of Thieves. They called him the Robin Hood, but that's long after the fact he's dead. And that's not even entirely true. And hello, Occupation Army.
Hey,
But
Occupation Army, good to see you.
you, alligator, what?
What? I mean, like, there is some unorthodox methods and whatnot, like Stede Bonnet trying to give everyone wages instead of just cutting the loot whenever they got any, that sort of thing and whatnot. But like stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was a joke that Sam Bellamy made about himself. He didn't take it seriously. Like we fashion ourselves like Robin Hood and his merry men. This is I think the line he says at one point, but it's like that's not true. And it's also from Charles Johnson, which he might have made that fact up as well. But regardless, that's not what happened. They didn't just. How could they give to the poor? They're pirates. They give to themselves.
Yeah.
They made they essentially made a kind of a pirate. They didn't make a pirate colony. They took over a colony and made it for themselves. A little base of operations where it flourished for a long while with black market dealings and whatnot. I say for a while, for like 2 years, 3 years until Woodes Rogers came and put an end to that real quick and made it an actual colony and got rid of all the pirates. The Golden Age of Pirates is remembered not for its longevity, but for its intensity.
Not to mention, like, they didn't even cut wages like evenly amongst the. So, okay, the captain got a bigger share, the quartermaster, carpenter, and the surgeon, or carpenter and the doctor or whatever, they got a bit more money, and the crew got equal pay. That was less than everyone else. So it's like that's not even true in that sense either. So what the fuck?
Unless they lost an arm, a leg, an eye, or something, lost a body part, then they get more money. But that didn't happen. I just oh god.
Okay, this that was a gem of retardation there. Please elucidate how this was more Robin Hood-ish video.
And although this may sound like a fantastical idea, it's actually a historical tale set just after the 12-year war between England and Spain. You see, just after the war had ended, a couple of British privateers found that they were no longer needed by the Queen's Navy. So rather than starting all over again in a different profession, they decided to sail the seven seas as freelancers of sorts. After turning to a life of robbery and thievery, these freelancers decided to hit the Spanish where it really hurt by forcefully boarding their ships, taking the treasure for themselves, and sinking them to avoid a dastardly chase sequence. Since the war had ended, these actions were denounced by the crown, and the privateers were unable to return.
Just to elaborate on what he attempted to say. So, yeah, after Queen Anne's War, hundreds of privateers, thousands maybe, they out of the job. Like, they wanted peace now, trading. Usually, beforehand, in the Buccaneer age, even after the war was ended, you could still raid the Spanish, the French. You could still take the ships and whatnot. However, after the Queen Anne's War, they're like, and the Treaty of Utrecht, which granted Britain the right to trade in the Caribbean. Now that the English could actually do legitimate trade in the Caribbean, they didn't want any more pirates or buccaneers anymore. They didn't want that anymore because now they could actually trade legally. So, and then obviously a couple of governors sort of encouraged, like, nah, it's fine. Especially when the powder keg of the treasure fleet in 1715 sinking, that was sort of the powder keg that made all these privateers, we can go get this money and be rich, or give it to like the governors, give us pardons and whatnot. And that's what Lord Hamilton thought he could do. But the moment that happened, Spain got furious. They asked Britain, "What's up here? Don't take our treasure." And then Britain came in and was like, "Yeah, no more of that. Arrest Lord Hamilton. Get rid of these pirates. No more privateers. Like, those privateers aren't actual privateers; they're pirates." Like Henry Jennings, and it's just that's sort of what happened. He's sort of skipping sort of that fact, I feel, but yeah,
Okay.
just to explain a little bit more, because that's sort of what the documentary itself does as well. They give you the bare bones of some of these like historical facts, like the Queen Anne's War. They don't really talk about that and the impact it had, and the Treaty of Utrecht. They just sort of mention it or don't mention it at all. And it's like, you could elaborate further on that, please. But anyways,
All right. Let's see.
To England or risk being arrested and shackled for the rest of their lives. The best thing to do after being kicked out from your home is to make another one, though, which is essentially what these privateers decided to do. The formerly British pirates left their former lives and names behind, establishing the first pirate-led democratic republic within the Bahamas. In true egalitarian fashion, the pirates went ahead and freed the enslaved, giving everyone within their republic equal and full voting rights. After some time, tales of this established region reached the ears of other pirates who sailed across the world.
And not really. Like,
All right.
full. He said he gives them the pirates full voting rights and whatnot, and they freed the slaves. Like, kind of like they would free slaves occasionally, and the slaves would join the crew, but they would also just imprison slaves and sell them as cargo. Still, like, they weren't exactly like a full democratic nation. Like, they had voting, like captains didn't get to decide where they go. The crews voted on where they wanted to go and to sail. Captains only had power when it was a time of battle. That's when they had full control. But other than that, it just even like Black Caesar, an African American, would also take enslaved people, and he wouldn't free them. He would sell them on cargoes as well. They took advantage of each other. It's just, I don't know why just the way he says it, like they were a free democratic nation with all voting rights. Like, not really.
If you weren't already a slave and weren't sold as one.
Yeah.
Become a part of history. The Lost Pirate Kingdom as a documentary covers this golden age of pirates and tackles stories from and about some of the most legendary names in the pirate game. These include the likes of Blackbeard.
Sorry. I just what the face they froze on there just had like
why did they freeze on that face?
He looks kind of tired, or just like, what are you talking about? I got like barely any sleep last night. Freaking rough seas. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah. He's like, do I get my paycheck now? I have to go grr. All right. Grr, I'm Blackbeard.
Henry Vane, along with the most feared female pirate, Anne Bonny. If you want more of a taste of what is to come in the first season of the show.
Anne Bonny was a whore. They don't talk about her as a pirate. They talk about she wanted a pirate, so she slept with Benjamin Hornigold, but he didn't give her a chance to become a pirate. She wanted to be a pirate, so she slept with Blackbeard, but Blackbeard didn't let her be a pirate. So she slept with Calico Jack Rackham, and Calico Jack Rackham said, sure, let's go be pirates. And then that's it. They don't go into her career as a pirate. That's all they do.
And she didn't bone Blackbeard.
No, or Benjamin Hornigold. I don't know why they said that she did. I don't get it. I guess trying to set it up like, oh, she became her own independent woman, kind of, but that's not how that worked. It's just, I don't.
show, be sure to check out the informative trailer that can be found on both YouTube and Netflix. You'll be treated to a beautiful reenactment and
Isn't that
animation,
your
as well
job
as the
to
impactful
break down
introduction of
everything
both
about the
Blackbeard
show,
and Anne
though?
Bonny. This is probably the best way to see whether you'd be interested in watching the series. So go ahead and let us know what you thought of the trailer in the comments section below. The cast of The Lost Pirate Kingdom. As far as the cast of The Lost Pirate Kingdom is concerned, you won't be recognizing anyone in particular unless you have a pretty decent grasp on indie materials in the filming industry. Since the majority of the documentary centers around both reenactments of particular situations and
Yeah, the
animated
actor for
large-scale
Blackbeard was
battles.
familiar. I've seen him in something. I don't remember what though.
Hmm.
The actor for Benjamin Hornigold is actually pretty good too, though. He's probably the most intact of all the historical figures in this show. Benjamin Hornigold's probably the one that's the most intact in terms of like historical accuracy. Everyone else is pretty much butchered. Henry Jennings, yeah, he got pretty screwed over. Sam Bellamy, yeah, that kind of screwed him up too. Charles Vane, definitely. Blackbeard, yeah. Everyone else, and Bonnie got it the worst, I would say. But Benjamin Hornigold, I would say, is probably the one that's remains the most intact from this thing.
Steve Bonnet barely got anything, but that could be either a good thing or a bad thing, because if they didn't give him screen time, then they didn't have to fuck him up.
Yeah, he didn't even say a word. They didn't let him say anything. He just showed up with a little bandage around his head because he was injured when he first arrived to Nassau. That's how Blackbeard took over, because he wasn't in the best of health because of the man of war and whatnot. But still, just like, why did you just skip over Steve Bonnet? I suppose he remains intact because you don't try and discuss what happened to Steve Bonnet, but why on earth would you not talk about Steve Bonnet? Because part of the reason why he got captured was because Charles Vane was spotted in the area that Steve Bonnet goes to when Charles Vane left. And then when Colonel Rhett came in, it's like, this isn't Charles Vane, this is Steve Bonnet. But a pirate's a pirate, let's go get him.
It's like, yeah, it's good enough for me.
Yep, pretty much. It's just, I don't know why they don't
place
talk
back
about
then,
that.
you can expect the cast to take on the roles of some of the greatest pirates ever mentioned in the history books. The legendary character of Blackbeard, for example, is headed by James Oliver Wheatley.
Kind of looks like Shia LaBeouf. Sorry, I had to bring that up. Doesn't he?
He kind of does. I could see it, like a relation to Shia LaBeouf. I could see it. I'm trying to think what this guy's from, though, because he does seem familiar. I don't know if it's something I've ever seen, though. But he does seem like, I might have seen you in something. Probably a crappy horror
while Tom
movie.
Padley has been brought on to portray the role of Charles Vane. Black Caesar as a character also features quite prominently and is played by Miles Giacchini. These cast members are then joined by Luke Ireland as Captain.
Yep.
He said you played Charles Vane?
Wait, I think he did.
Back then, you can expect the cast to take on the roles of some of the greatest pirates ever mentioned in the history books. The legendary character of Blackbeard, for example, is headed by James Oliver Wheatley, while Tom Padley has been brought on to portray the role of Charles.
Okay. I'm guessing they didn't show the guy's face, but all right.
Yeah, why wouldn't they show the... Because it confused me, because I saw Blackbeard, and I'm like, but that's Blackbeard, that's not Charles Vane. It's just the same actor.
Yeah, nice going, editor.
Yeah, I don't know what. Okay.
All right. Okay. So, confusion aside, all right. So yes, different people, but they just showed the same guy twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, my confused.
Black Caesar as a character also features quite prominently and is played by Miles Giacchini. These cast members are then joined by Luke Ireland as Captain Pierce, Jonathan Ralph Whitaker as Captain Young, and Derek Gibbons as Hornigold's charismatic.
Fucking ads. I don't have an ad blocker. Shut up.
Oh, you're fine, dude. No worries.
Pirate spokesman. For further consecutive episodes, there are plenty more names to be added, such as Monir El-Masik as Thomas Barrow, Kevin Howarth as Woods Rogers, Sinead McInnes as Mary Hallett, Robert Ryan as Dr. John Howell, and the beautiful Mia Tomlinson as Anne Bonny. With each cast member looking particularly suited for the life and times of those who participated in the golden age of piracy, you'll feel completely subsumed by the show in general.
Okay,
the format of the show.
So suited, like Blackbeard doesn't. The actor they got for Blackbeard is not yes, he has a big black beard, but he's not tall or strong. Like Blackbeard's the tallest dude in the room, and they got like the shortest guy to play him. I don't know what was up with that. They couldn't put him on a box or something for a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else. Everyone else sort of looked Black Sam Bellamy. He kind of had brown hair and not black hair, which is why they called him Black Sam Bellamy. But because he had black hair, which he tied back with black ribbons, which he did not do in the show. Hornigold, again, probably the most accurate. Aunt Bonnie did have red hair. I think she had an Irish accent, so I think they got that right. But
Yeah, she was. I think she was originally from Ireland.
Yep. She and Edward England were originally from Ireland. I believe that's the two Irish pirates. I think Henry Avery as well.
And Calico too.
Yeah, I think Calico. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a lot of Irish pirates just because of the whole. They didn't like the new king. They were Jacobites. They didn't like King George being Austrian and whatnot.
Yeah. All right, so what's up with the format?
Lost Pirate Kingdom combines scripted scenes and expert interviews along with large-scale animations in an attempt to paint a picture of the major players who plundered ships.
You mean like a lot of documentaries?
Southeastern US coast and the Caribbean in the 18th
pretty much
century.
every documentary now does this.
Episode 1 starts off in the year 1715.
Probably because of the History Channel and how they do it.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that guy with the long hair just he took the cork and spit it out and tried to catch it but missed.
Oops.
Whoops. He still played it off though, which was nice, but it's just like, darn. They didn't want to try again, like, hey, you want to try and catch that again? Or nope. They're just like, first shot, first take, it's fine. But yeah, they said expert. There was like 3 experts in that whole thing. Everyone else, their credentials were related to different things, like African American slavery, or they're just a professor, or I think one of them was just a student at a college at one point, just learning to become a professor, but not in marine history or pirate history, and something else entirely, which it just has me confused. Like, why would you put those people up there? Like, why would you gather them? Could you not like call David Cordonley or something, or Bennerson Little? Maybe probably because they would contradict what your story of what you wanted pirates to be, but I don't know.
If they were just getting random fucking college students, they might as well just gotten you.
Maybe, yeah.
Someone who knows what the hell they're talking about.
Well, I think that's the thing. They didn't want people who knew what they were talking about. They got 2 of them, and they realized, or 3 of them, and they're like, oh crap, we don't want to use them. Cut out when they start talking about stuff that contradicts our story. But yeah, I don't know what was up with that.
Right after the
strange thing to notice when you're like,
came to an
end,
why is this as
so
we said earlier, since plundering
inaccurate?
was no longer acceptable after the war, many men found themselves unable to stop, which caused profiteering to be renamed as piracy, which was very much looked down upon by the crown. The documentary shares a style similar
another
to
ad
other
break.
hybrid.
Oh, it's fine.
Mute.
Oh,
yes, I am using StreamYard already.
What? But are you using StreamYard's 2.0?
It's a website.
I know.
Just give it to me. Sorry, that was just kind of funny.
You're good. I'm laughing too. I'm gonna look more stock footage. But this time they put a little telescope around it to make it look official.
Come on.
Docuseries such as Washington, which is also heavy with scripted reenactments. In other words, think of the Lost Pirate Kingdom as a truthful recounting of the Pirates of the Caribbean, which, although in the form of a documentary, leads heavily into the action of the time.
And
that being said, you should also expect to hear some incredible information from experts from time to time, which is sure to teach you a lot about some of your favorite characters. The narrator.
Oh, sorry?
I said, ooh, green screen. Just that one shot of the suns. I'm like, oof. I thought it looked. I
of
thought it
the
looked
show,
bad.
Derek
but-
Jacobi, also does
Derek
a
Jacobi?
great job
Okay.
in tying these expert opinions to the various reenactments, giving the series an incredible flow, which never takes you out of the action for too long. For people
Why are
who have been
you?
looking to get
Why are
into
you crediting
documentaries but have found
the
them to be a
narrator
bit
actor for tying in all the quote unquote experts, with the reenactments? Shouldn't you credit the writers for that if you believe that he did a good job, not the actor?
I mean, the narrator is the one you're listening to, so
Yeah, but he
I guess-
didn't write. He didn't write the thing. He just narrates.
well, how was the narrator? Did you like him?
I thought he was fine. He was
Okay.
very into it. He was good. It just, again, the writing for what he said was just not good.
boring. The Lost Pirate Kingdom is definitely a great stepping stone. Our thoughts on the series. It would seem as if the director and producer of the show, Patrick Dickinson, was trying his best to deliver some sort of balance between high drama and camp in this pirate-based docuseries. And as surprised as we were by the concept, The Lost Pirate Kingdom definitely hits this mark with gusto. It is clear from a first viewing that the budget of the show was nothing.
Oh my god, it's like fucking Chrome is throwing more ads at me than usual. Okay, there we go.
They're giving us a
You've
break
come
from
to
what we
expect
have to listen to.
Piracy series and movies, with there being some obvious moments of green screen madness, for example. But this is when we reminded ourselves that we were actually watching a documentary. Considering just how terrible action and reenactments in general are when it comes to documentaries, The Lost Pirate Kingdom.
I don't know. Some reenactments look pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be, a little fake and whatnot, but it doesn't mean they have to.
I'm trying to think, like, what about is it called the World Wars? That was really good with the reenactments and whatnot. And the CGI for that was really good as well, from what I recall. Because they released that on Memorial Day, and it follows Roosevelt, Patton, MacArthur, Hitler, Stalin, from World War I to World War II, and what they were doing in both of those and their impact on both of the world wars. And I thought those were really good in the reenactment. Same with like Barbarians Rising. Like they do battles multiple times in different locations, so that's not the same. They're reenacting multiple different battles. It's like they did a good job there. But I'm at least happy that this guy recognizes that the green screen is pretty terrible. Unlike the reviewer from the last video who thought it was great.
Seamless editing.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yep.
It covers a lot of characters over a long period of time.
At least he didn't say get your sails wet.
Yeah.
Can only be said to be on another level entirely. So while we were expecting more of a cheesy bomb of epic proportions, the show took itself about as seriously as it could without going over the line. The cast members are portraying 18th century pirates, after all,
What does that
which
mean?
is why the series relies on the cheeky commentary of Dickinson to tie the expert opinions and campy portions of the
Dickinson?
show to the more serious
Wait.
segments which pop up.
He said Dickinson. Is he referring to Charles Dickinson?
Charles Dickens?
Charles Dickens? Is that
I don't know.
because so
Did he write any pirate books? I
for
don't.
background, Charles Dickens is a supposed. I don't know why. No, not Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens. Who was he? There's So Charles Johnson, Captain Charles Johnson. No one knows who he is. He's a pseudonym name. But they've thought of one pirate who he could have been Daniel Defoe. But it's not Daniel Defoe. It's not Daniel Defoe who wrote General History of Pirates. This is where we get most of our information from. Who's Dickens? Who's Charles Dickens? Is
he wrote Great Expectations and
No,
A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, but like I'm talking. Who's he?
In terms-
Dickens. Oh, he said Dickinson. That's why I'm confused. Who's Dickinson?
All right.
Is he the writer of the show?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was director or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, I might
portions
have.
of the show to the more serious segments which pop up every now and again. Another surprising blast from the series is the breakout performances by Sam Callis, Mark Gillis, Evan Milton, and James Oliver Wheatley, who brought their respective character to life in the best ways possible. We actually felt like we were getting invested in the characters, so when the narrator or experts would add further historical information about the specific character, we'd lap it all up and wait for more. The only real pitfall of the show is the overarching plot, which doesn't seem to have as much coherence as you'd expect from a series in general. In other words, when you take out the expert interviews, you're left with a feeling that the scripted portions of the show wouldn't exactly hold up in their entirety. But as we said, these scripted scenes are so good that they made us forget we were actually watching a documentary at all, which should never be judged for its plot in the first place. In other words, if you're looking for a series about...
I mean, it the plot of the fucking, like, it's supposed to be cataloging what happened. That's the plot.
Mhm.
I mean, you might need to like frame it in a certain way in order to make things flow a little bit better and whatnot. But you're supposed to be just telling what actually happened.
Yeah, I don't, because they, like I said, they just put in random scenes of just like Anne Bonny having sex with Benjamin Hornigold. I don't know why. Is it like they wanted to make a historical fiction show, but they couldn't do it, so they pitched it to Netflix? Oh, it's a documentary. And then they had to stick with it, like, oh, we actually have to make a documentary. Crap. I don't know. It's a weird way to phrase that. And there was something else that you said I was going to comment on, but I can't remember what it was. But I probably already mentioned it earlier. But I don't remember what it was. It's just so much is wrong. So much is wrong.
I'm just kind of like imagining, like, they're like someone pitching sort of, like Game of Thrones about what pirates, but it's basically about like one crew and how things are just going absolutely wrong, and like half the crew is planning on mutiny, and the other half is, standing with the captain and seeing what kind of shit happens there.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, watch Black Sails. It deals with the crew of the Walrus with Captain Flint, Long John, before he became Long John Silver, before his early days since prequel and all that, and it deals with other crews like Charles Vane, a more accurate depiction of Charles Vane. Definitely a more accurate depiction of Calico Jack Rackham as well. They even have Ned Lowe in there, which is not the right time period of when Ned Lowe shows up, but I'm fine with that though, because it's historical fiction and a prequel to Treasure Island, which is a fictional book. So I'm fine with that. Plus, they even have a way of how they go around that whole thing. They explain it to you, or not explain, but kind of. They have ways of how it ties into the real world with general history pirates, Charles Johnson, and all that kind of stuff. If I ever get to you to watch it, we can go into that. But yeah, they have explanations for why it doesn't match up with history, so it works.
Let's see what the tail end of this is.
Pirates. That is gonna make you engrossed in a fantastical tale involving treasure, mythical creatures, and other insane myths surrounding that time period. A show like Black Sails or Pirates of the Caribbean is probably more your scene. But if you wanted an informative piece of cinema that teaches you all about the figures behind some of your favorite fictional pirates, there's no better place than the Lost Pirate Kingdom. So what do you think of the docuseries?
Black Sails
Feel free to let us know in the comments.
Pretty informative as well. Definitely more informative than the Lost Pirate Kingdom, because they go into crews, how they operate pretty efficiently, especially with the sailing and the tactics they use, because the historical consultant for Black Sails was Bennerson Little. So
yeah, okay.
Yes, pretty accurate to what they are, especially since it's sort of fiction and whatnot. Still pretty accurate to the clothing, to the designs of the ship, the terms they use. That's all accurate. And I guess that's why I bought the books, the Blood and Plunder books, the game books. I haven't played them because I don't have any of the miniatures, but the miniatures do look pretty stellar. But like half the books are dedicated to the history that Bennerson Little gets feedbacks in, and I assume writes in as well, which is really good, worth buying if you ever interested in that as well, and especially I think he's working on with the Firelock games on a pirate RPG set in the golden age of piracy, that sounds awesome. Which I'm saving my money for just to buy. Even if I don't ever play that game, it'll still come in with like all the background history and the timeline, which is beneficial to writing and whatnot.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, whenever Firelock Games releases that, but yeah, Lost Pirate Kingdom,
Not good.
not good, not a good documentary. If it's entertaining to an extent, that's about all I can say. It's entertaining, but if you know anything about pirate history, you're gonna be frustrated with it. So that's like that might be a fun one to watch at some point with you or with a group of people. Just you all watch like, oh, this is pretty entertaining, and I'm just sitting back furiously rambling on about stuff. That's not right. That's not right. That didn't happen.
I've had moments like that before or whatever when I watched the Sans Destruction anime. Oh, I was pissed.
Oh, do tell.
I mean, granted, it's, not history or anything. It's, an anime based off a DS game. One of my favorites, by the way. But to simply sum it up, like, I was so mad. I legit thought I had like some kind of rage issue or some kind of like something was deeply wrong with me or whatever. And just like, the little things just make you venomous, but like the big things that you just dig those deep and just try to repress those just so you don't like burst into fucking flames. And what I legit then, some years later,
wow.
I rented the Last Airbender movie. I watched it with Grandpappy.
Oh,
and
no.
I watched him go through the exact same thing I did. Like beat for beat, to the point where I was just going to be, I was starting to like call out mistakes they were going to make. Like, how much you want to bet they're going to mispronounce Agni Kai? And then, it's like, and then we play it or something like that, but it's like pause, rant, just here. Like, I kind of felt better. I'm like, okay, this was just pure nerd rage. So yeah, it was the Sans Destruction anime, as bad as the Last Airbender movie, as bad as the Dark Tower movie. It's just no.
Oh, I forgot about the Doctor. Oh, oh, Dark Tower. That's another. I've only read the first book. I couldn't get through the second one, but I love the first book, and seeing that movie is like, we're gonna adapt all books in like one movie. Like, no,
because that's always a good idea.
Always. Why wouldn't it be?
And like, I think Black Cauldron was kind of similar. Like they took like multiple books at once, and then it just went completely off the rails at the end.
Oh yeah, with the Disney animated one, right?
Yeah.
With John Hurt as the king, or I haven't seen the animation in forever.
Yeah, the Horn King.
The Horn King, yeah. I didn't realize it was based on, but I'm gonna have to. Yeah, that one might be interesting to read the books and rewatch.
Yeah, I was on Dunn's Patreon movie screening of that, and then I started doing a Gurgi voice just before he showed up and whatnot, and then Dunn's like, yeah, actually, like his voice is a lot more pleasant than what you're about to get. And then when he showed up, just like Neff and Wolf were like, ah. It's like, Gurgi warned you.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see. No money, make a full-scale drama. We can sell it as a doc, right?
Yep, pretty much. What history event do you want to butcher today, Hex?
That
we can sell as a documentary to Netflix.
Tiananmen Square.
Ooh.
Butcher the hell out of that.
Yep.
That'd be funny as fuck.
Make everything up about that. Oh my god.
Oh, and honestly, I think China would probably approve of it then if we butchered it.
Oh yeah, they would. They would give us the full support. They would give us all that China money. We could use that. That's how Disney makes their bucks, right?
Absolutely. But all right, I think we'll go ahead and call the stream here. There was those are both of the videos we wanted to cover. Nick Brown, thank you very much for coming on and complaining with me about a documentary that I have never seen.
Yep. One day I'll find a way to download it and we'll watch it, and I'll be sitting in the back just frustrated, and we'll pause it. We'll make it a whole thing. There'll be a popcorn movie night or something. But yeah, thank you for having me on. It was always fun, always a pleasure talking with you and just ranting on about pirates.
All right, and likewise, everyone else. I hope you all having a wonderful day. Next time I stream is on Twitch Monday at 6:30 MST. Going to be continuing on with Everhood. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Stay safe.